that is in blue, this is called the original level, or more or less the document level itself. In the middle, we see a representation of the ETCI itself. It's broken down into two parts. We have the invention itself, and if necessary, an application. I will come back later to this expression of application. To describe the ETCI here, we have discovered three different elements. We can see here by mouse over, the first one is called the product, which is an essential thing in our webshop invention. We have an internet server P, which stands for the internet server of the producer of the respective product. And we have another internet server called internet server S, which is the server where the webshop is on. I think from what I described, it is almost clear that these are three possible elements that belong to the invention. Around this blue region, we have a green region. We call it the A, or the aggregated region. For each element, there is given a predicate, which we call an A concept, which still does not really describe enablingly how the invention or the ETCI might work. For this, we ask the analyzer to input further things, which we call elementary concepts. You can find them here in the red region. For example, for our product element, we have only one elementary concept, and it says here product information ID. So our product is being described by a kind of ID, like you have in a database or something like that, which belongs to the product itself. The server of the producer is being described again by the product ID. Of course, you need to refer back to the respective product. Oops. I'm sorry, I didn't want to do that at the moment. It is also described by its own URL in the internet, and it needs to have the look and feel of the original product, and also it needs to have the URL of the web shop of the other server to connect there. The third element again has all the concepts that I have already told you, and in addition another concept describing it, namely that the URL to the second server is never shown and no one is transferred there. That is the novel idea in our invention. So all these parts have to be input by the user. That means he has understood the invention and has broken it down into these parts. Following that, the relationships between all these items have to be found, input, and also proven by respective markups in the documents. That means, for example, in the test 1b here, we have to check whether all the elementary concepts really describe the respective A concepts above them. We can look into, for example, the third one, which had the most elementary concepts. I just click on that here and hope that it will work. I'm sorry, it's not. It's the laptop. It's nothing to do with the software. I'm sorry. The enter test, the thing will not work here. How to continue if it does not work? Now something is happening. Okay. So for each of these tests here, we have usually the necessity of this invention-specific justification why this test has been passed. This is usually being input verbally by the user here. It says more or less, yes, the elementary concepts that have been given here are completely and correctly describing the element, respectively its predicate, the A concept. In addition to that, there are generic questions that have been asked for each test. You can access them over here, if it works. which it's not again. I'm sorry. Why is, no, okay. You have just to check whether the A concept is actually a conjunction of its ECRCs or not. And in the end, you have to check that you really have passed this test step. From these checks here, the system may give you automatic support because this is something it can evaluate. The verbose things that the user is inputting is very hard to evaluate automatically. So this is still something that a human being has to evaluate. In that way, the examiner may check each and every answer being given to the tests. He doesn't have to if he thinks everything went well. He will not check each and every test, but he may check all the answers, which is much quicker than coming up with the answers himself. So as we are running a little bit out of time, I only want to show you the final result of all the inputs that the user has been given. Namely, in the end, after having found out that the ETCI is actually patent eligible, the user also has to continue with comparing this ETCI against all the complete set of prior art documents that belong to this case. And we have here a nice overview of this procedure. You can see here at the top again the elements we have already talked about. We have the 3 ones. In the next line we have representations of the elementary concepts. And here we have a line for the TT0, which is the ETCI we are talking about. This means here the DDR invention. In this line we compare this invention against the pertinent skill. And A means anticipated and N means not anticipated. That means against the pertinent skill. From all the elementary concepts we had found in the beginning, only the non-transferring of the URL was unknown at the time of the patent application. Again, if we compare against the prior art, which has been given, we find the same result. Everything has been anticipated by the prior art, but not the non-transferring of the URL. So another view of this fact can be seen here. It is not very spectacular in this case because we only have this one single concept that is really novel. We have here always a sum for each column, how many N's are in there, how many good concepts are in there. Then we have a sum for each element, how many good concepts we have here, and an end result for the complete ETCI. If we have only one non-obvious concept in there, we have not so very good invention. Let's say we have found 9 of them. We have a very, very valuable invention because we are at least 9 different ideas away from everything that is now known. So I have an ETCI from which I can build up a lot of other inventions, for example. If I have only one such elementary concept, I may perhaps revise my patent application and come up with a little bit more inventive stuff to make it more safe. I think I will stop for now. You have seen if you have something prepared like that and you are used to look at such a form, you can quite quickly find out whether you can agree with a prepared analysis like that, and you do not have to study very long to find out whether you would like to grant a patent to something like that or not. You just have to make sure that you believe what the applicant has input in the system, and then you can check quite quickly how the tests have been done, and even go back to the, perhaps I show you still that we can go also to the marked up units in the documents so that we can see them quite easy. I go back to the hypertree. Just now it worked, now it doesn't. Sorry.
Yeah, I think we leave this explanation, going back to this diagram, to the demonstration which you can give at the booth to those who would like to dig more into more detail.